Hi, I'm Mario Evon, and you're listening to Trth, a weekly edutainment podcast discussing the things that most people are afraid to, but from a Jamaican perspective. From relationships, sex and sexuality, to the ins and outs of entrepreneurship, in this space we speak about almost anything with the intention to inspire, educate, entertain, and create a fair and balanced space where your truth shall become your power and set you free. Hey guys, welcome to the next episode of Trth, and I have a friend of mine with me. He goes by the name of Jason Evans, and Jason is a Jamaican native. He's a fellow Libra like me. He's from Bull Bay, and he has really had a very interesting life journey. Jason, I like to ask my guests to introduce themselves. So welcome to Trth, and tell us who you are and some of what you do.
Thank you, Mario, for having me on Trth. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's been a long time
I
coming.
know, right? It's
Yeah,
really
man.
a pleasure to be
Yes.
here. Who is Jason? Well, as I said, I'm a Libra. Big up to all of the October people out there.
Big up
You
to
don't
the
know.
balance.
Yeah,
Yes.
but who I am, I would consider myself as a philanthropist for some reason. Um,
Yeah.
I am a very hardworking individual who likes to see other people strive. Um,
Yeah.
in all the roles that I have given in life, it's always probably 80% out of 100%. It's always a leadership role, giving me the opportunity to impart and give back to people in some way. Yeah, that's just who I am in a nutshell. And I guess probably further in the interview, you will, or in our conversation, you will hear more.
Our conversation.
In our conversation,
Yeah,
you will
about
hear more and some more of what I do.
about why you became a leader or are a natural leader. All right. Well, before we move on, because I'm going to move on, but before we move on, Jason actually is kind of a founding contributor to the Talk Truth podcast. And you see this microphone here, even though you cannot see it, it's on a mic stand. And Jason Evans himself,
More.
in the early days when he knew I was about to start a podcast, actually knew that I needed some equipment. And again, his kindness and philanthropy, he acquired my 2 mic stands for my condenser mics. So Jason, thank you for that, because these mic stands are still in
More. I
use.
never.
They're used very regularly. You never even remember, so you give away a take, and you say you love kind, you
I
love give
not
it.
even. I never knew you were gonna say that and publicly.
No, we're saying it because people need to know that this is the episode is a spirit of kindness. So again, it ties in perfectly. All right, Jason, tell us a little bit about growing up in Jamaica. Tell us about your childhood in Bulby.
My childhood. By the way, I'm writing a book from my childhood days to my present state. So there are some things that I'll mention that is in the book, but I won't go too much in details.
We won't get
because-
in everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but growing up in Bull Bay, I grew up in a household of, how many of us was there? Probably 5 siblings in total, including myself, 5 of us. And I actually grew up in a one bedroom with no bathroom, and a piece of kitchen hanging off on the 1 bedroom in a tenement yard, a family tenement yard. So I grew, my mom and my father, all of us in the 1 bedroom with 2 beds. So me and my other siblings, we sleep on the 1 bed, and when it can't hold, the older one go up on the floor. And I grew in that environment for probably maybe 5 years and until things changed.
5 years.
Yeah, but my before that though,
So 2 beds,
2 beds.
2 beds, 1 kitchen.
Yeah, man, 2 bed,
one
well,
room.
1 bedroom, 1 piece of kitchen. Not even when rain fall,
Piece of
you
kitchen.
can't stay in there when rain fall. So 1 piece of kitchen.
And for the non-Jamaicans, explain to them the concept of a tenement
So
yard
a tenement yard.
in our Jamaican
Okay.
context.
So a tenement yard is basically where you have several houses in one space. So on one property,
on one piece of
piece of land. So you have at that time we had probably over 95 people living in that one space, but we're all family, we're all related. So uncle, aunties, cousin, granny, everybody's at one place. So it's
Right. Right.
one big family yard. Um,
And in the absence of no bathroom in the house, did you guys have like a pit toilet or pit
no man, we
latrine?
have one. We have, remember, it's a tenement yard. No, so even though our house doesn't have a, a
One
bathroom,
next house have a bathroom.
or even though our
I
house doesn't have
understand.
a bathroom attached to it, there is bathroom in the yard that you can use, that you have access to.
Right,
They call it
right, right.
the tenement yard bathroom, then, so to speak.
I mean, not go call Bull Bay country, but you can decide. 'Cause in Jamaica, a lot of people in rural Jamaica have pit latrines, but Bull Bay, you know, call Bull Bay
No, no,
country. You call
no,
it
not
country.
really. I mean, some people call it country, but for me, it's too close to Kingston to be country. It's like 10 minutes drive
Yeah,
from
yeah, I
Kingston. So
know.
yeah,
Yeah. All right, tell us. All right, continue the journey. So you say you were in that situation for about five
yeah.
years, and what was next
Yeah,
then?
before that, before I remember going into that situation, I remember my mother she was an entrepreneur, and they owned a grocery shop back in the community. And that grocery shop was like
Right.
a little mini supermarket. It was very popular, and they were making a lot of money from it. I remember as a child cashing out money and serving people and counting money and putting some in my pocket and all them something there. Um, it was that, and I remember one family member of ours got ill. They were in the country, and my mom decided to close the shop, turn it into a house, so that that relative could come from country to live in that house. And I remember that was when I felt that things took a turn for my family. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we
Mm-hmm.
we are
In a good
in
or
a
bad way?
more of a, I'll say more in an
More of a bad
in a
way.
negative turn.
In a not
Yeah,
as good way.
in a
Uh-huh.
not as good way. And then we had to,
Kinda meant shutting down the
right,
business,
that,
right?
yeah, that meant shutting.
Facilitator, family member.
I
Mm-hmm.
still don't understand why my mom did it, but what I gather from it is that
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to help, and she rather her family member had somewhere to live than to have a business. It's weird. And
Right.
sometimes I think of it and I'm like, wow, mom, you really did that? Like probably I would have rent somewhere or put her somewhere else than to close. So I don't know
Right.
if there were any other factors that
Factors
contribute,
that you
right,
weren't aware
as a
of.
child. But
Right.
as a child
Mm-hmm.
growing up, I see shop lock, turn in a house, so, that type of thing. So to this day, my mom don't talk much about the reasons as to why
Right,
that
right,
happened.
right. Well, as you become an adult, there are many things in your childhood you'll never know the
Right,
details. So,
you just never
but
know.
that's life,
Yeah.
right?
So back to
Mm-hmm.
the tenement yard. Now we grew up in there until things start turn around again, and one more room add on, and we start add on kitchen now, and we start add on bathroom and living
Right,
room. So the one
right,
bedroom start to expand now and get bigger and bigger
right.
until yeah, uh that was it for that period of time. I remember things just start turning around. My father got a good job at the airport, and things were coming in now, and things start seems nice. And my mother start she was a traveler. She would go abroad and buy
Right.
things and come back and sell, and things just start getting better for us. And it only got better. Like, I think it only got better where I went to St. Benedict's Primary School. uh,
Mm-hmm.
we used to walk to school, by the way, because it's like 5 minutes from the house, and we used to
Exactly.
come back home
Right.
for lunch, because sometimes no money in the day, so you have to just
Right.
boom, you have to boom the wall
Come back home for and then
and
go
then
back
go
to
back to
school.
school,
Mm.
and then
Right.
I wouldn't say I failed my GSAT, but I mean it wasn't one of those
Good as you would have
traditional high
liked.
schools, but that's a story in
Right.
itself, Mario.
It,
We have
it
to talk about that probably some other day.
right. What you say? It wasn't like a six ones and a
Oh
two
my
twos,
gosh.
right? That's a whole
Oh
other
my
thing.
gosh.
Is that you never tell them? You never tell them
Just
where
me.
you go.
But I mean, I'm proud. I'm proud of where I went, by the way. So, but yeah.
Right. Question. So you mentioned in your mom closing the shop to allow the family member to stay,
Hmm.
right? Would you say that some of your kindness and your charitable nature comes from your parents? I mean, you spoke about
Yeah.
your mom.
Yeah, I think so.
Would you
Yeah,
say
I
so?
think my mom, she's always giving. She's that one, back growing up in that tenement yard. I remember we were the only ones who had a TV in the yard growing up as a child.
Right, right,
And my house used to full. My mother used to accommodate everybody.
right. Yeah.
She used to say, "Come, man, come watch the TV, man. Sit and you don't feel like I am going to sit in this in the chair in the good chair and everybody sit on the
In the
ground."
main chair,
She's not
right?
up for that life. Everybody have equal access. That type of thing. That she treat other people's children with such care, like with such. And when she cooking a Mario, everybody who in the house and watch
Everybody.
TV, I get them plate of food. It no matter who. It no matter if them ask. Yes, then she just say, "Every me I go share food now. Who want talk?" And she just get everybody food, and that type.
But apparently, but
Yeah,
no, finish from me. But that
yeah,
type
and
of,
I watched. Those principles that I saw in her, and I think those are what
mhm.
kind of mold me into the type of person that I am in terms of looking out for each other, like having a genuine interest in the people around me. Like once you're around me, it's like my instincts, my drive is to ensure that you are in a better state. That type of thing. And I think it comes from my mother's concern about other people.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I was leaning to wondering if being kind is something that is innate for some people
Hmm.
or something that's
Yeah.
learned. And I think for you, based on what I know, you have both. I think you're naturally a kind person. Might be the Libra, and but also I think your situation with your growing up made you kind as
Yeah.
well. Would you regret your life, your early childhood in the tenement yard? Do you think that that is a large part of it as well?
No.
Being in a community, being around a lot of people, having to
No.
share, whether you like it or not.
No. I don't regret it. I think I like that it is so much you can learn so much from being around a lot of people, and as well as
Yeah.
it could have gone the other way where the influence and probably if we get into that I'll tell you about some of the influence that the bad things that I
Right.
took on live coming out of the tenement yard setting. And I don't
Right.
regret because there's a lot of things that I learned from many different people. There are lessons that I've seen people, cousins gone through that I'm like, that not happened to me. That won't happen to me. So
Right.
I
Right.
don't, I
Right. Right.
don't, I don't regret at all. No.
Yeah, because there are many positives in community, but when you're in spaces where you cannot escape other
Yeah.
people, you can have a lot of things that happen to you
Yeah.
there. All right, we move on. We move on from that. All right, so you move on. You said the GSAT them never go so good. So what happened after GSAT? You're moving on along the ropes now,
Boy,
going up in education and
boy.
stuff.
After GSAT, my mother got every traditional high school you can think of in a Kingston to get me transferred. And everywhere she go,
Right.
them say the grades them not look too hot at all. We can't bother. We can't. We're not accepting him because of the grades. So I ended up had to stay at
Right, right,
Downcore
right,
High School, which big up to all DQ people. You know, I went to
right,
Downcore High School, and I my journey at Downcore High School, and I think that's where I think that's where my interest in the academics really blossomed. When I went to Downquarry in seventh
yeah,
grade, Mario, I have absolutely no friend. Me just go to school, and as the bell ring, me at the bus stop, me at the first man out because at that time the school had a bad reputation of crime, of violence, violence. Children were carrying knives to school, so all that type of
right.
behavior drove fear in me. So when school, as the bell ring, me
Mm-hmm.
gone. And
You're gone,
what
right,
happened is that I remember in seventh grade, I was doing my own thing. And I hear my name over the intercom, Jason Evans, report to the vice principal office, Jason Evans. I said, wait, then what me do? The time I was so timid. And Mario, me timid bad. Because at that time, me did stammer.
yeah.
So, Mario, we coming up to the stammer part. That time, me nervous. Me no know where me do now. I forgot talk to vice principal and me just afraid. So anyway,
Right.
anyway, I went to the office and she was like, "Oh, I just wanted to know who is Jason Evans because you taught the entire grade seven in academics." And I was, "Me? Taught the whole,
Yeah, right. Finally, are
yeah,
your time
me
now.
taught the whole grade seven." We said, like, I was so shocked because I was just doing my own thing, I was just doing my schoolwork.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that they had an award ceremony that they award students for doing excellent.
for
Yeah,
high
and
performance.
all of them things
Mm-hmm.
there. So she said, "Well, I'm letting you know that you will be invited to the award ceremony, and you can tell your mother and your father about it, and because you are the top student for grade seven." And I think that was when it hit that, think about me not so done, me not so,
Right. You realize you had a lot of
yeah, man,
potential.
realize I have a lot of
Yeah.
potential. And I had a farm teacher, Miss McLeish Tracy. She's in the United States now, Big Arrow. That farm teacher
Yeah.
really helped me to grow and develop into who I am today. They took a keen interest because they saw something in me that I didn't see. And, that was where in grade seven, I felt that my academic potential just soar, just went up through the roofs. And, you know, uh, it's, it's a whole story in itself, Mario. There are so many compartments of these
Right,
stories.
right,
I
right.
just
I
chopping it
know,
up.
I know. I was here thinking many things. I was thinking, one, that's the first time you're happy somebody calls your name on a high school intercom. And funny enough, just this week I tweeted what you
Mhm.
just said. I said many times someone else will see your potential long
Yeah,
before you do.
yeah,
And we give thanks to the people that see it because they're the ones that mold us. It's such a great life lesson that we're here to inspire
yeah,
others,
absolutely.
which you have done. I'm going to actually hop you out of these years now because we want to move to you starting a
Yeah.
foundation. And I am very aware of your foundation. And when I did some research, I realized I saw help a child
Hmm.
sometimes, and then I saw friends of a child. Tell us, at what point did you create a foundation and why?
All right. back uh, back in 2016.
Yeah, you can fill in some of the spaces if it helps to get us up to here. Mhm.
Back in 2016, I'm originally from I think I moved from my parents' house, and I went to live on my own when I was 18. I just moved out. I felt that I was in a good financial state because I went
Right,
abroad to work, and I was making I was making big income. Like, I was making a lot of money for my age. So I thought that probably, well, may I make money? You go rent a nice apartment somewhere nice, because, moving out of the tenement space, moving out of the yard. And, I moved. And I remember one December, I went back to my mom's house, and there were some children in the community that I saw, and it was around Christmas time. And the children, the picnic them they looked like they needed some form of help, because it was Christmas, and
right, right.
people trying to fix up themselves. And
Right. Fix up
yeah,
them space, fix up
yeah,
themselves,
and
enough eating
yeah, and I
festivities. It's supposed to be a nice time.
right, and I saw these.
And they never look like them have such a
No,
nice
no,
time.
honestly, them did kind of look,
Yeah.
and then when I did my investigations, because you can't just see people and assume. You have to actually know the facts, because I didn't want to offend anybody.
Right.
So I did my investigations, and I
Absolutely.
asked questions, and I say, whose children are these? I could find out what we can do. And so I found out for legitimately that they were not they them give up on Christmas. Them, like, we just do what we have to do, live, because we just can't really
Mhm.
afford it. And I took it upon myself, and I brought those kids. I think it was four children at the time. Four. I brought them to carry them at town myself. And me tell them if just pick anything they want. I say, anything you want for Christmas? Married that time, me no business if they want to pick their things. Them I say, want to just pick. If you see something and you like it, I
Right.
wanted to give them,
Just
yeah, I
picking.
wanted to give them that opportunity to, to feel loved and appreciated, and to have that type of different experience. Yeah.
Freedom.
So
Yeah. Freedom
yeah,
of
freedom of
choice.
choice.
Hmm.
And they have never gone,
They never
never
had that.
they
Yeah.
never go shopping.
They get what them get. They work with what they have.
Yeah,
Always.
exactly.
That's
And I
life.
said to myself, I'm not going to give them no old broke. Me no want ask nobody if them not have no clothes where them no want. I
Right,
was
right. Things
just,
that are used,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's okay for some
Of
scenarios,
course,
but
of
for me,
course.
I wanted to give them a real, you know, a good feeling. So the children, they went to town and they picked their shoes and them, pick them clothes, Christmas clothes that they want. And Mario, the joy and that came from those children face and their family. It's as
Right.
if the happiness was tangible, and it made me feel like I was living. It made me
Wow.
feel like,
Yeah.
wow, you know how good these children feel. And
Right. And if I can create this for
yeah, and I
someone,
thought to myself,
that's
yeah,
amazing, right? Yeah.
and I thought to myself that if I created that impact, what would I want to make it bigger, like, bigger and better, and grow. So the following year, I
Yeah.
recruited some people and I started to beg some money. And I
Yes, the hardest thing in life.
I know, right? And I extended the program. I invited people to recommend people who they know who have a legitimate need for help. And we got a team of people. At that time, it was called Help a Child. So we started. No, we just fling it out there as Help a Child. It wasn't.
Help a
Yeah,
child.
it
Right.
wasn't. It wasn't registered or anything. So we just, we call it Help a Child and work with the name and see what will happen. And the
How you decided who would have been a part
yeah,
of the
man, we
team?
just well,
Who you asked first? Friends,
well,
family?
I threw it out in a group that I had, and I said, "Hey, I'm doing this charity drive.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody who is interested, please sign up." And people just jump on it and say, the president no for the foundation was one of the persons who immediately jump onto my WhatsApp and say, "Hey, Jason, I would love to be a part of this thing." And right now she's actually the managing director for Friends of a Child Health Foundation, Peter Gay Ferguson, Big Arrow.
Right.
And
Right.
then that's
Right.
where it started. It just grew from there. People, we got over a couple hundred thousands of dollars in that begging drive. Like, I went all out,
Wow.
and it was only family
Wow.
and friends. Like, I didn't approach corporate Jamaica. I didn't approach anybody. It was just money from my income, family and friends that really drove it. And I think we had like 20 children. We took them to Max's, and Max's came on board and gave us massive discounts for the program. So big up Max's. And Payless as well came on board and gave us discounts for that project. And then we just took them shopping. We just let them go into the stores. Mario and the children, these children, one, them never go shopping yet from the day them born. And it was more of to watch the excitement and the happiness that came from their faces. And when you look on them parents' face that are
Right.
outside, it was more like, what, I can't believe this is real. Like, somebody really helping me this Christmas, somebody really giving back. It was a feel the it was a good feeling for all of us, the team members and everybody. So, then
I love to play devil's
mhm,
advocate sometimes, Jason, because I know that there will be people listening to this who might say, if you have money that you
yeah.
raise, why not make them buy books, or why not contribute to school
Hmm.
fee? Why create an experience of shopping? Granted, I love the
Right.
idea of it. I love the idea of allowing a child to have an experience that they
Yeah.
never had, and how that may trickle down into their life later down, as much as it seems superficial
Hmm.
to some people. They might say, oh, shopping?
Yeah.
What you would say to that, to those people?
Well, I mean, when I just started the foundation, it was on that premise. It was on that idea of taking less fortunate children, giving them a new experience in life, broadening their perspective, their mindset, creating a different experience that they have never had before. That in itself, no one can take away that type of new perspective from that child. Um,
Right.
we Even though we take them shopping, a part of it that people don't know is that we ask individual parents what are their need. And some may say I need
Mm, mm.
uh, I need books,
Shoes
right? I
or
need
clothes
something.
or
So we actually have a
right.
portion that we give to the parents. Sometimes it's a meal that they ask for. That they say, well,
Right.
we
Right.
really don't have no food to cook. So what we do, we have monies aside that we give to the parents for the need that they identify. And it may not be a big
Right.
portion of the money, but we try to meet that need. But the core of the foundation at that time was to give these less
Was
fortunate
that?
children a
Mm-hmm.
new experience, something that they, as a child, when you have that experience, it will never leave you, and
It will
it,
never
it, it
leave you. I mean, you can when you think back to your childhood, you can remember the first time you did experience something where
exactly
they just new and bright.
the first.
You know, like you go to Hope Zoo or you go just like you go somewhere you'd never go before.
Exactly. You remember.
How it
You
felt?
remember.
Yeah, you
I
never
remember
forget
the
it.
first time I went shopping as a child with my mother. I left. She allowed me to shop for myself. Took what I want, and
Yeah.
Mario, I kid you not, I left that bag downtown at the bus stand, and somebody grabbed the bag. I will never forget get that
Yep.
experience. No, no,
So all you have is the
all me have the
experience because you don't have the
experience. All me
things.
have the experience. Me have the things. The things gone. So, so
The
no,
things
giving them
gone.
that experience, that none can take that away from them. And
Yeah.
in their later life, that experience can create good people. They can remember, oh, when I was a child,
Yeah.
somebody did do this for me, so let me in turn return the favor. You may never know. So that was the that
And yeah.
that
Hmm.
was the
I was gonna say there are other levels
yeah
to it too. Yeah. That was
that
the
was the, that was the core of what we were doing at that time, which, as you know, the foundation took a turn. We yeah
evolved, right? It
yeah it,
evolved.
it, it we
Hmm.
we 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 evolved. We actually, uh, a team member and myself, uh, we
Hmm.
actually went to Portland, Oregon, in the United States in
Okay.
2018. I
Yeah.
think it was in 2018. Yeah, 2018, 2019, thereabout. And we went to a charity organization that they were called Friends of the Children Portland, something to
Mm-hmm.
that extent. And what they had, their their uh, their method of helping at-risk children, and the impact of how their method really helped families. I was in awe. I went to the meeting and they shared everything with us. They asked us if we want to partner with them, be a chapter in Jamaica, and all of that thing. And it was all the feel good
Right.
feeling.
So you
And
had that
yeah, we got
option.
that option, and it was
Mm-hmm.
just a good vibe, good people. And I came back to Jamaica, went to the team, and I said, "Hey, team, yeah, I went to visit this charity organization, and this is what they're offering us. This is what they do, and I see value in it. And given the fact that Jamaica is one of the most, I don't want to say it on here. Jamaica needs help when it comes down to crime and violence.
Right.
It
Right.
was
Right.
more of I felt the need that the charity could be impactful in that area where we
Yeah.
help at-risk youth, provide them with a mentor, and help at-risk youth to to be transformed. And I went to the board
Yeah.
members and I said, "Hey, team, now want to think about this new direction." Like, I felt,
So you never bother create a Jamaica chapter, but you borrowed some of their
yes,
principles.
what we did, we
Mhm.
we took their looking for a
Like their
word,
framework,
their
kind of almost
framework.
framework.
Yes,
Hmm.
that's the word I'm looking for. We took their framework and we make it relevant to Jamaica. Like, there are
To
certain things that
Jamaica, yeah.
they did that, I mean, it's good for the states, but it wasn't
Good
appropriate
for
for yeah.
Jamaica.
So what we did, we actually altered
Yeah.
their framework to make it suit uh, the Jamaica culture. And
Right.
that
Right.
was when Friends of a Child Help Foundation, was the new name, was born. That we thought that,
It's
Yeah, man,
registered now.
registered, and we are a legitimate charity organization in Jamaica. We're filing with taxes, and we're
Right,
doing with financial statement published, and go on our website. It's all there. Um, so it's that was when Friends of a Child Health Foundation, the name was born, and we chose that name because it gives an idea as to what we do. We are helping children, and we are
right,
being friends of these children. So, in essence, what the foundation
right.
does is that we hire mentors, and this was deliberate. What we did,
Hmm.
we because Mario, Jamaica have a culture of sometimes we volunteer, but it's very short lived. Like our culture
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah, yeah, yeah.
facilitate long term volunteerism. It has to be like,
It's
yeah,
true. It's
man,
true.
trust me. If
You give
yeah,
money, you
man,
give clothes, you do a health fair, you step out, but you never
no,
ever live there for
yeah,
any
no, but
long
and
time.
and
Yeah,
and and
it's like a short
yeah, man,
visit.
it's for real, and I do understand because of the economic situation in Jamaica. Like nobody's gonna take up their time for 2 years and to volunteer in an organization that really gives off their time and energy. So, one of my thing for the foundation is that we hire these mentors and pay them a monthly stipend. This way, what it will do is create a commitment to the
Right, right,
mentee,
right.
because
To the
yeah,
mentee,
that was
right?
important.
You incentivize the
Right. So
mentor,
we
right?
incentivize them.
And people like it,
Yeah, man, you get
incentive.
them a little change
Hmm.
and say, listen, you have to submit a report at the end of the month in order to be eligible for your incentive. So therefore, you have to go to your mentee and
Right,
spend time. So what the core the core of the program was that each mentor had to spend I think 16 hours per month with their mentee, intentional and deliberate. So they had to visit their homes
16. So it's
like
like about 4 hours a
4 hours a
week.
week. So what they had to do, they had to
What is my math? 4 fours is what?
4 hour 4
That was so
16,
funny.
and also 8 and 8. If
Okay,
four
I
and plus,
thought so. Yeah,
yeah,
you're right. Yeah,
16,
that was
right.
so. Yeah, yeah, trust me, pandemic
I
brain.
say it go.
Yeah, so, yeah,
But anyway, yeah. So it basically they had to in that month they had to visit the school, and they had to go into the community, and they had to take the child outside of the
right,
community. That way, it shows that the mentor is there, and the mentor is being a big brother, big sister type of support for these children.
right. And I like that there was some framework to the
Yeah,
mentorship.
man.
So there's in community, out of
Hmm.
community. You have an hour time, you have a report, and I guess within that, there's some other things that you would want them to do
Right,
as well.
right, right. And then we have
And you match the mentee to the
yes, man. We had
mentor
yeah,
to
man.
ensure
The
that they
kind of
can
fit. Yeah,
be a
yeah, man.
benefit.
Definitely.
Yeah. Hmm.
So we had our orientation, and we had mentees coming, and we assessed each of them, and we assessed the strength of the mentor and what the needs of the mentees are, and then we place them um accordingly. And Mario, it worked well. Like it legitimately, it
Yeah.
cost money, but because you
Yeah.
had to pay these mentors per month, and then we have a support system where we have a chunk of the budget that we give to mentee support. So there are times when the family may say, listen, me can't send John go to school, and me can't send whatever so and so go to school. We had to step in as a foundation to say, hey, part of our assessment, part of our evaluation is to ensure that these children are always in school. So we had to provide lunch money. So what we did, we supply the schools with the lunch money, not the parents. We don't give the parents the money.
Right. Just so
Yeah,
that
man.
it's just to ensure
Right, just
that other
right,
things don't
yeah,
happen
yeah.
because
I
that can
mean,
happen,
exactly.
right?
And these are at-risk youth, and our assessment, most of these children are from the
And people also have bills too.
exactly,
Yeah. You give it to the parent and it might end up somewhere else.
exactly.
Respectfully, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
life.
man. So we actually had that in place where if a child needs anything, that the mentor reports to the foundation, and then we offer the help that we can give. And Mario, it works
All
so
right. Okay.
well. Like
Mm-hmm.
we have,
Worked well,
oh
eh?
my gosh, we have mentees who the school. I remember one school that they said that we are going to expel this student and kick this student out. This student, it was too bad. Like the parent had to go to the school every single week. I kid you not. And the school, by the way, our mentees are selected by the schools. So what we did, we approached the schools
Okay.
and we asked the dean of discipline, we asked the vice principals and principals to recommend to us students who they feel need help. So
Need
yeah,
some
need the
support,
support.
yeah.
So they and Mario, hey,
Or guidance, yeah.
best believe so the school like the opportunity, So say the school has send the one where them have on top of them list that hey, this is somebody I want
Right,
help.
right, right. So you get the
Lord
top,
Jesus.
you get the
We get
top
the top
five.
five all the time. We get the ones who are at the top, and
Or
those are the
right.
ones we really want, actually. And
And they tend to match
yeah,
up, right?
man.
The matchups
Yeah,
were
man.
good. Yeah, the
Yeah,
school
man.
can
The
tell, yeah.
schools,
Can.
and Mario, one child in particular was enrolled in a program, and he transformed. The school called the foundation and said, "Listen, what uno do? What
That
is it?"
child was Derek Palmer.
Yes, yes. There's an article.
He was.
Yes, there's an article out there.
I did my research. I don't come in here without no
Yeah, man. Big
research.
up Derek. Big up, big up, big up, big up our
That's
mentee.
funny. I was going to ask you. I was going to actually create a moment where I threw the name at you, and I wanted you to tell me the story. And it's funny that it was the same story you were
Yeah,
telling me.
man.
But all
Derek. Yeah,
right. So
man.
Bridget is
Yeah,
mommy.
man.
Bridget
Project.
Spencer's mommy, and her child is Derek
Yes,
Palmer.
yes.
Tell me about that
Yeah,
mentorship
man.
story.
Derek was. I mean, his name is out there already. I was trying to not say, but
I know it was. I
I
know
didn't
you're trying
remember
to.
that. There.
All right, I'm
I didn't
sorry.
remember.
I figured because the article
Right,
was out
right.
there
There.
that it
Yeah. I
wasn't a
mean,
secret, but
it's there, and it's a legitimate. Uh, it's something that happened,
it's a
right?
good
And it's a good
story.
story. Derek
Yes.
was, he was one of the students that his parent had to visit the school very frequently, very, very frequently. And once when he came on the program, he came on it for a 6 months trial period. It was our first launch of this new framework that we're
Right.
introducing. And
Right. So
yeah,
yeah,
man,
I
we
test
test
it
it out
out,
first. Cause we don't want to jump in or something and it no work out. We kind of want to test it to
and it
see,
don't work
and then
out.
we did our evaluations and say, oh well, this is what working, this is what not working. So he was one of them, and he really strive and he strive with a mentor mentee relationship. Derek
Yeah.
was one of the persons who never gone to Devon House. He had never had pizza. He had never. Yeah, so, and I mean,
Yeah.
he's from the inner
Yeah.
city. And these are the type of things that the foundation aims to do: give them a new perspective on life, broaden their mindset. Like, hey, beyond, uh, beyond this, your current state, your current community, there are others out there that probably you would consider to be better, but most of these children, they
Yeah.
don't know, because all their lives they grew up in their community, and the farthest place some of these children go is downtown, and that's it, downtown, back to home.
Yeah.
So what, we took him, we broaden his mindset, like we show him things that he needed to see and experience as a child. And our mentor Nadine, to this date, even though the mentee mentor relationship has ended for that chapter, Nadine, our mentor, is still an integral part in that family. Like, she
Oh,
still
right. Right.
supports
Right. Right.
her mentee, and she's there for him. It's like you form a relationship, a professional relationship with clear boundaries
That becomes a
that
friendship.
becomes something embedded in the family structure. Like, Nadine is now like an
Right.
anti
Right.
Nadine to him. And the strategies we use, we train our mentors, and we train them with strategies of effective mentorship. And so they apply these things. And Nadine,
Just me not lie, my heart warm now because it's like in this conversation, what you reminded me of a while ago is as we grow and get more as
mhm,
adults, sometimes we quickly forget what we never
yeah,
had. It's funny how as you evolve, you kind of, well, you should never
yeah,
forget, but on the days when you want more and more and more, right, you really start taking for
right,
granted what
right,
you have.
right,
I mean, and it's kind of a good reminder, especially at a time
yeah.
like this. that we have so much, that we have
Yeah,
so much.
just
Like, you somebody never have pizza
exactly.
before. And for a lot of people, that's just a
Hell
blink
yeah.
for them. Them just call
Yeah,
Domino's and pizza
exactly.
get delivered.
Absolutely.
And people
Yeah,
forget that there are a lot of people who have never experienced these things that they think are so simple.
exactly. And trust me,
But for somebody else, it's like going to Disney World.
Mario, and but I'll say 90% of the intake that we have never experience life outside of
Yeah,
their communities, and it's very sad, and it's just their reality, and you can't blame the parents because they grew up in that
right,
type of life, and probably some of them may want to do better, but their economic situation doesn't permit it. So we can't blame them. But and that is why we step in as a foundation to kind of bridge that gap, to kind of help these
bridge
children
that gap.
experience something new.
Jason, would you say that you had a mentor growing up?
Hold on, I think I lost you earlier. Could you repeat that?
I was I was saying, would you say that you had a mentor
I
growing up?
think so. I think I did. Ovnell Smith, off the bat, she's the first person I can think of. She was my vice principal at Donald Quarry and still is my mentor. Any little team I can run, go to her, any little support. She's a brilliant woman with, oh my gosh, like me like bright people. I'm sorry. I like people.
You like
No, I
smart
like
people?
successful people.
Right,
I like to attach myself with people
right,
who I deem to be, hey, what can I learn from this individual? What can I take away? And Ovnell
right,
Smith was one of those person
right.
off the bat that, and my pastor, those are the people that
What kind of qualities
I
did they embed in you?
leadership, um,
Yeah.
ability to think outside of the box. Especially my vice principal, she was, you know, actually, Mario, that my vice
Mhm.
principal, she was the first person who took me to Carib Theater. Like that, my first
Oh yeah,
experience was in high school. Like my vice principal with her children, she took on a keen interest in me because she saw my potential. And to this date, we are like son, mother and son. Like I can call her now and talk to her like my mother,
right,
And she took me on and bring me to Carib, and that was my first. And I will never forget that first experience. So it was fun. It was exciting to sit in a box and watch big TV at this time. So yeah,
right, right. So she did for you what you
doing
ended
for
up
yeah,
doing for others.
yes.
So it probably tied in out as well. Tell me a little bit about some of the challenges in the big challenges. I know there's a whole lot of
Hmm.
podcasts in running a foundation. And what are the things you encounter that are difficult to keep it running? And why do you keep doing it?
Mario, right now I have written to corporate Jamaica a number of places asking for help to run a project that I want to launch for Child's Month. I want to go back. We have selected two communities in Jamaica that we feel that the crime statistics are very high, and we want to go into that community to rescue some of the youngsters from being recruited by criminal elements.
In,
And yes,
into
into
gang
gang life.
life.
And one of the biggest challenge that I face, or that the foundation faces, is funding. Most of these activities that we do, they are from out of pocket, and we have had help from Mark Golding, he's a very keen supporter in terms of um, helping us to get financial support. So I want to publicly
Hmm.
acknowledge his contribution to the foundation. And the biggest
Hmm.
challenge that we find is that we we lack the funding to carry out the projects and to make the impact that we are making, because
Right,
we want we want an we want to when we evaluate the project, it must be that there was some form of positive impact, and this is going to require money. Nobody's going to take up their time while we do it for free. Like the
right.
board members, we're all volunteers, but the people.
Where did you learn all of this stuff? Meaning the ability to what you described to me. I guess you didn't have that knowledge in the
Mhm.
beginning. How did you learn to? create a project, have outcomes. These are project management, and I think things that foundations do. This came from the place in Oregon. Did you just naturally kind of
No,
connect these
no, I
dots, or you
don't.
learn
No,
these
it
skills?
did. What we took from Oregon, to be quite honest, is just the mentorship component, that type of
Right.
thing. Um, at UTech, I did general management, and a lot of my courses had project
Um,
management and building organization culture. And I was,
right.
by the way, I was the top performing general management student at UTech for 2016.
All right. All right.
Yeah, man, get me
Congrats.
award and all these things. I mean, invite me to get me award, and it was a good feeling. So I learned these principles through my studies at UTech, and and it was something that I was passionate about. And my mother, who is an entrepreneur, and I see her started a number of businesses and how she go about doing it, and those principles came too from my mother and what I learned through school.
Right. Right. So you could create objectives and
Yeah,
have
man.
outcomes and connect all the
Yeah,
dots in
man, have your
between.
smart objectives and
Mentioning,
all of them things. Make sure so you can.
look at you, man. I go call you for help me plan some things before everything not true. Mentioning difficulty getting funding. Tell me about NCB Foundation's Gratitude
Ah,
Project. Hmm.
Mario, that was something you know well too. Lord, big up NCB. Big
What
up
is that? What is NCB Foundation's Gratitude Project, and what happened to your foundation in
Oh
relation to
boy,
that?
big up NCB, my former employer too. Big them up. You know, I NCB, as you know,
What was the what was the Gratitude Project?
the top prize was 500,000. And
Hmm.
people had to vote, literally text to vote for your organization. So we had to do a campaign where we called people and reminded them to text and to support the
And you guys
oh
won,
yes,
right? In
oh yes,
2020.
oh my gosh, we
So you won the
yeah,
five
man, we win the
hundred
five
thousand
hundred
dollar.
thousand for the foundation. That was a
Wow.
Mario, you know well too much money me have to call and say Mario vote already.
I'm sure me vote many times.
Oh, God.
What were the criteria for entry? What was NCB looking for in
Well,
their
they
win?
had several categories. They had categories that they selected, and they had an open
Right,
category for people's nominated organization. So people had to nominate the organization. So we
right,
entered through that
right.
category where people
Mm.
nominated us, and we saw the opportunity, and we're like, hey, let's jump on it and try see if we can win this 500,000. And we won in the end. Yeah,
You
by
won,
a
and I'm
landslide.
sure that money came to
Oh
good
yes,
use
by
by
a
a
landslide.
landslide. Eh? Because people, what you don't know about Jason, him aggressive when he come onto these things, you see. And it's funny that I find, even though we're both Libras, that's not my strength. Like asking for help is not my strength. But where do you get the confidence to ask for what you want? I mean, is it the passion that
It's
drives
the
it,
passion.
or are you just naturally a
No,
confident
no,
person?
Mario, it has to be a cause, because there are people who ask me to do things and to ask for other people, and I'm like, me not, I'm not going to do that. But if I'm passionate about it, and if I
Yeah,
see the cause, and it's something that is personal, and I feel the energy to do, especially if it's a good cause, even if it's not created by me, but if
yeah,
it's something that I think that,
yeah.
this would be an effective um, activity or something. Mario, me will go through
Right. You find the
Mario,
energy. You find the
me will
energy.
go to Barack Obama and Michelle Obama just to make them.
It reminds me of my album launch. Like if you know me, I'm not really ask nobody for none. I'm not really answer my phone for fun, but or call people
Mhm.
for fun. You see, when I had my album launch, and I knew those albums were coming from the US into Jamaica, and I had to
Right,
execute a
right.
launch. Anything I needed, I called for it. Can I tell you? But as you said, though, my point is that it was tied to the fact that this has to be
Yeah,
done, and this is
yeah,
important.
yeah.
But outside of that, I am not
Yeah,
asking
no,
much.
me either. I'm kind of an independent type of, try to do it on my own type of person. But it
Very,
has to be a
very.
cause to get that side of me, going.
Right, alive. All right, I have an interesting
Hmm.
question for you. What is your belief system? I mean, do you believe in God? Do you believe in Ali Selassie? And I ask you that because I'm going to tell you the next question after you tell me what you
I
believe in.
believe in the higher power. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. Off the bat, I'm a Christian. I believe that, yeah,
You're a
I
Christian.
believe in God.
How? how, which leads to my question: how do you connect charity to God?
Well, Jesus called the people and feed them with the fish and the bread. So that's charity.
Right,
That's charity in itself, giving back to people. Tying Christianity, it's a. I think Christianity is tied to kindness. Compassion. And I think going being in charity, you have to have those components. Mean people will never start a charity, or mean people who don't
right,
give will never start a charity. People who doesn't have compassion
right,
will never go into charity. And Christianity is
right,
connected to those type of attributes, that you have to have some form or level of kindness, some form of compassion, some form of care to be able to go in charity. So I tie the the principles of Christianity to be similar to the
right.
principles of being involved in charity.
And where do you see Friends of a Child Foundation going? What's the ultimate vision for Friends of a
Mario,
Child?
right now we have a framework. Boy, I tell us, say, if we're actually writing, we are seeking opportunities for funding. So if anybody listening to this podcast and know of any opportunity out there that that can help us, we want to have a Fouch Academy, and Fouch comes from the acronym Friends of a Child Health Foundation.
Got
we
you. Right.
we want to have a Fouch Academy where we it's like a date. It's like a everyday thing where the schools who find these children to be challenging send them to the academy, and we train them, we teach them social skills, we teach them how to become better
Right.
people, we teach them, we try to do behavior modification and have a lot of children's psychology and psychology in play, that type of thing.
Right. So you don't even have to go to them.
Yeah,
They will
man,
start to come to you.
we want them to say,
Right.
okay, talk to the parents and send them to the Fouch Academy. Bring them here.
And they
Yes,
learn
and
these
we
things.
teach them,
Right.
try to help them to become better children, or to modify their behavior. Where I want to see Friends of a Child as a household foundation name in Jamaica. And that's where we are heading. Like I want it in every nook and cranny at Jamaica. Like people must know. Yep, yep.
Right.
What?
Right. You're going to have
Yeah,
branches. Every
man.
parish have a
When them
Friends
a
of a
talk about
Child.
bad
Yeah.
people, they must say, "Me go call Friends of a Child pan you because you want to call Friends of a Child."
You're going to
Yeah,
want to
man.
go. But then before you know it, Friends of a Child is going to become a
Well,
school. But
I,
this is how things
I mean,
evolve
yeah, it's
sometimes, right?
more of a mentorship type of,
Right.
training,
Than
yeah,
a school.
more
I
of a
understand.
behavior
Yeah.
modification center, more of, we have attracted so many good people to be a part of our board. We have a psychologist from the University of the West Indies who is a lecturer. We have an
Right.
attorney at law who is a part of our team. We have a number of people. We have media people. It's like, a lot of people.
And I'm sure they offer a
What,
lot of
Mario, you
value.
think me could have pay a lawyer if you run up and down with them paperwork and then get these
I know,
things
right?
started?
I
You
know,
think me could
right?
have pay the psychology lecturer at the university
Right, right,
to
right,
offer guidance and create um, uh, things that we
right,
needed to measure and all of that? No, we couldn't afford that right now. But I mean, it goes to show that the foundation is growing and people see value in it. And I'm just beseeching and asking anybody out there, if you want to contribute, go on our website. We have a website and we're working on
right.
new
All right.
websites as well.
Uh, I'm going to make you plug that in a second. Jason, I have one last question for you. And I just want to say, you are definitely such an extraordinary human. And one thing about this podcast for me, it wasn't about me interviewing people who are famous, even though I might interview
Right.
famous people. But it was about me recognizing that everybody's story has a truth that can be told, and that this truth will impact
Yeah.
someone else. You, the title for this episode came straight out of the sky, and I decided it was going to be a spirit of kindness, and I think it was perfect because you not only embody a spirit of kindness, you have created a lifestyle of kindness. So my final question to you is:
Yeah.
what would you suggest to people for them to also have a lifestyle of kindness?
Uh, Start putting yourselves in other people's shoes. Think about your life in a next man's situation, and try to feel how. Try to connect that feeling with that person. How would you feel, and what would you want someone to do if you were in that situation? And I think that's powerful. If you're not able to do that, then I don't know, Mario. i- if you see a brother and he's in a situation that legitimately needs help, and you can't put yourself in that situation, especially when you're in a position to help, and what the worst if that person even come to you and say, hey, I need help, you know, and you're not able to put yourself in their situation, especially when there's a legitimate need, some a situation that needs help, not legitimate. You can't go around that, and you're not able to put yourself in that person's shoes. Then, Maria, I don't know. So my advice to people is that try to live in someone else's lens and see how they feel and how you
Yeah.
would want someone to treat you if you were in that situation. Start there, and you'll find the heart of compassion start to develop, where you're looking now for opportunities to help people. And if you're living for yourself, you're not truly living. When you live and make other people around you live as well, you get an inner joy and an inner peace and an inner, I don't know, it's a feeling that is beyond explanation. But try and live for others. And I think there's a quote, I don't remember who said it, but the essence of the quote is, you haven't really lived until you've helped somebody.
I'll say no more, Jason. That was beautiful. And all I'll say is that that's why a lot of people come alive in parenthood. I'll leave that there. How can people find Help a Child
Well, well,
Foundation? Not
Friends of
Help
a
of a Child,
Child Health
Friends of a
Foundation.
Child. Let's get this right. You
Well,
see?
Friends of a
Tell us everywhere you guys can be found. And if you want to also plug your personal stuff, you don't have to, but if you feel like you can also add that.
Yeah, man. We are on Instagram at Friends of a Child Health Foundation. We are on the web. We're on Facebook. I will tag the I will tag I will tag the link down below, so you can click it and see what we're about. But we are on all social media platform except Twitter. But we are on
Right.
Instagram, Facebook. We have a website up, and we have, yeah. You can find us there. DM us your concerns, questions, anything that you want to tell us. Yes.
Jason Evans, thank you. Libra man from Jamaica will be doing wonderful things, giving of himself to the world and living in other people's shoes, helping them to have experiences they've never had, and just really making them have a life that maybe they never dreamed that they would have. Jason, thank you so much for your time. I enjoyed talking to you, and I wish you all the
Thank you.
best with the foundation. I look forward to seeing it in every parish and internationally. And yeah, thank you for being on
Thank you,
Talk
my
Show.
friend. Talk truth.
All right,
Yeah,
take
man.
care. You just listened to episode number 57. Wow, of Talk Truth. This is season 3, and we are almost getting to episode 60, which is our last episode for the season. Just 3 more to go. That's 58, 59, 60. That's right. Don't forget to follow us on social media at TLKTRTH. That's Talk Truth without the vowels on all platforms. We do have talktruthja.com, spelled out TALKTRUTHJA.com. That's our website. And feel free to send us an email at talktruthja@gmail.com. I love to be here with you every week, having these conversations of truth with people with interesting stories. As Jason said, look into yourself and live in the shoes of somebody else. It was really an inspiring conversation and just reminded me of how wonderful and blessed my life is, and how much I need to live for others and give back in some kind of unique and special way. As usual, this is Talk Truth, a place where your truth shall become your power and set you free. Until next time, guys. Peace.